Hi everyone, and welcome to binding how to do a Maori Hei Toki knot binding lashing with a no hole technique. I think this is a super cool way to do it because it keeps the whole stone in one piece, as it would have been used back in the day originally by Maori when these were useful implements, as well as being an adornment as well. But anyway, let's get into it. So first thing I do is I organise my 1mm waxed braided cord like this. I got 6 strands looped here. It'll end up as a 3 plait at the end, and this end here is the end with that are all joined. The other end has got the 2 loose ends that were cut off as well. So the first thing I do has got nothing to do with the stone. The first thing is doing a whipping. Okay, so I've got a video on how to do a whipping. It's pretty tricky to see with all black cord, and it's only 1mm, so check that out. I'll leave it in the description. And when you're doing this whipping, make sure you've got, this is the long end attached to something big, okay, because that's what you're going to finish off the binding with. See what I mean in a moment. But anyway, this whipping goes on a couple of centimetres up on the cords that are going to make the necklace at the end. So I'm going to tie this whipping now. You may or may not be able to see it in action. So this is a part of it, keeping it untangled as you go along. You don't want to get your bits mixed up. Okay, I'm just going to pull the end of the whipping through, try and cinch that up at the starting end. I'll do a few more wraps. Let's see how we're going there. Get some focus. There we go. Yeah, got a few wraps on there. Okay, that will be enough wraps. Okay, time to pull my big loop through. So it's pulling on this one here, which connects to the rest of my cord, keeping it tidy. Alright, there she is. Let me get some focus there. So that's that whipping, a couple of centimetres from the end, like so. Alright, so now it does get a bit tricky. Just seeing how well we can line these guys here up, because now we want to do the actual binding. Now, if you are doing a toki binding with a hole in it, the binding, the lashing part, is pretty much just aesthetic, just for looks. What I really like about doing it this way is that it actually has a function, a purpose. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop these 3 pieces on to the toki, like so, and then we're going to push this whipping down so that it sits on top. Okay, and now I'll show you what the loop actually looks like. So just hook those on. This is going to be the front. Okay, it's just looped on, nothing too fancy. looped on like so. And I haven't tightened up this whipping yet, so it's still able to be moved. So if possible, it is good at this stage to be able to align these things up and have them lie flat, because they will be sitting under the binding. So the flatter they are, the more flush your binding will be. But it's okay if they're not perfect. Okay, we want to push that down so it's sitting just on top. Okay, because that's where it's going to be sitting once we tie the binding on. Once it's at that point, then we need to make it tight. Okay, so grab your pliers, grab that end, and give that a good. Right, it's not going anywhere. Cool, and then that will just sit just on top, like so. Okay. Now we start using this long piece, which is the one that's connected to this. Alright, and now we start actually doing the lashing. Now, the thing is, to tuck the cord in at the end, you need to have a pull loop. Okay, I'm going to put this onto the back. So, start the lashing. We head down underneath the bottom, and we're going to put this. Where's that cord gone? This pull loop here, which is just a short piece of cord in a loop. Put it onto the back, like so, right across the back here, and we're going to lash over the top of it from now on. Okay, so then you go right around the back, and you come up under this way, over the top, and heading down. Now at this point here, you can either go underneath the original wraps, or you can try and go over the top. If you can make it work, try and head over the top to cover them up, because they're not super tight at this point. So head over the top of them like so. There you go. You start heading around the front. Go back up. So again, this is a point where if you can, go over the top of the cord bindings, and that will secure them down nice and tight. I'm going to tuck that in a bit. Oh, that will get covered by the later wraps anyway. Okay, then we're back to the start. That's the pattern. We keep going like that. Around the back, up the top. Oh, I wonder if we can push that one up a bit. Okay. Now, I'm just going to pause here for a bit and just talk a little bit about the shape of the stone. Because when I carve the actual stone to fit a toki lashing, the only bits I worry about is the cut on each side here and here. And just make sure that they're deep enough to take the amount of cord that's needed. And then the other part is that this part here is thin enough. Okay, if that gets fat, it can get quite tricky across putting binding across the top. So I just try and make that reasonably thin. But I don't need to cut into the top parts here, because all of those bits are pushing into the whipping at the top. So that part's fine. And I like to have a gradual, a gradient going into the rest of the toki down this way. I guess that's personal preference. You could cut it in, but then you'd have to measure how far it's going to be going down. So for me, that kind of makes things easier, and I like the look of it too. So okay, so we're going down, across. Okay, so now I'm just going to keep wrapping this. It is the first few wraps on a toki which really set the mood. You know, the better you do the first couple, it kind of sets the pattern for what the end result's going to look like. more cord out here. So how far you keep going with this is up to you, depending on the size of the toki. Well, I have some say if it's quite a small one, a big one, you know, it'll change. But I like to try and cover up all the this triangle in the middle, but you don't have to. You know, again, that's kind of some personal preference stuff there. But especially if you haven't got a hole to cover, you know, that's kind of cool. You can work with that a little bit. Yeah, that part's kind of up to you. I do usually try to cover up that triangle, and I might do a couple of extra rounds around the bottom before I pull it through, depending on how far down the actual toki the lashing's taken me. Right, so I think I'm pretty much sorted for this one now. Yeah, so it's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's do a couple extra just around the bottom. Okay, the balance of it. Alright, that should do me. Okay, so that's that part all done. Now we need to chop it off and pull it through. So we don't need too much. So I'm just going to cut this piece here now. Alright. That's left me with a little bit hanging out the end. Now the idea with this is you put it through the pull through loop and pull it up so it's nice and snug. And then I'm going to pull that through, which will pull this end all the way up and out the top. I'll do this on the back, what I consider is going to be the back of the piece, you know, because it does leave a little bit of a noticeable ridge along the back here. But let's give it a go and see what it looks like. Sometimes it works with the hands okay, but otherwise use the pliers. But let's see how we go. There we go. Coming out the top. So you can see it here, where it's disappeared in. And it's popped up the top. That one looks pretty good actually. It's nice. Okay. So there we go. Now all we need to do is tidy it up. So chop off these bits that we don't need. That one there and the one at the top of the whipping. Burn off any stray fray bits. Also give the wax a bit of a chance to melt in. And there you have it. No hole toki lashing. And from here, the more you do it, the tighter it will get. So to finish this one off, divide these into 3 each side and plait each one out, and then you can use more whippings to do an adjustable knot on each end to connect them together. I'll leave a link for that in my in the description. Alright, enjoy guys, catch you later.